Kia ora basketball fans. This is the ACC Benchwarmers podcast. A few Kiwi basketball fans talking basketball on the ACC network. No Storm. We've traded him to San Antonio before the trade deadline, but we have got a couple of first-round picks back. And we're introducing our first one today. His nickname is the Mad Bastard, and he's crazier than Dennis Rodman's Vegas bender during those finals a few years ago. It's Chris Keys. How's it going?
Really good. Thanks for having me, guys. And just like Robin, I'm going to crash the boards. I will party hard, but I'll also deliver on the defensive end.
And his nickname is the Pants Man. He's taken that title off Tristan Thompson, I think. So well done. It's Joel Harrison.
Thanks, mate. It's bloody good to have you back.
Yeah.
We missed you. We missed you big time last week.
Did you?
Wow.
Didn't say anything bad about you. It was all good.
Yeah, look, my name is Ben Boyce. After Ben Simmons' turnaround in form, I'm now the most disappointing Ben in basketball, in the basketball world. But you're right. Like, you messaged me and you said, have a listen to the podcast around about 11 minutes in. We give you a nice shout out. I was away for work. I'm like, this will be great. I had to listen. And it's, jeez. Anyway, we don't even need to go back to what you threw me under the bus for, but totally untrue.
Yeah, when we're saying you're back in Kyrie Irving.
We don't need to go into that.
Okay,
but you've
That's
clearly just gone into that. So anyway, I don't even think I need to say it's not true. Hopefully everyone knows that it's not true. But thanks for doing that, right?
No worries. One thing that we did talk about last week, though, Kyrie Irving versus Ben Simmons, who's going to have a better season?
I believe I put that question forward.
You did, yeah. And I said straight away, I was like, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, that's 100%. What you'd think, right?
Yeah, and that changed drastically in the space of about 3 games.
Yeah, we're going to get into Ben Simmons in just a minute, but another crazy way. I mean, there's always so much happening in the NBA. I mean, we're just talking about Zubac as well, 29 boards yesterday. That's just some late news. Kemba is back in the NBA.
Dallas?
He signs with the Mavs as well. The Warriors are getting texts for celebrating. At least some Warriors fans are celebrating somewhere in the world after the Vodafone Warriors. You never get, you've got like Steph getting a tick for celebrating. It seems kind of unusual, but let's kick into the starting five.
This is the starting five for the Benchwarmers.
Y'all ready for this? And we're talking Ben Simmons at number one. You were just mentioning him before. He's actually looking really good.
Yeah, I feel like I watched that game Philly versus the Nets last week. It was the first game that you watched of him play for a while. And you see his stats, and they're not good stats, but he's more of a player that's there just to, like a presence player. Like the amount of pressure he had on defense and stuff, he was incredible.
He's literally like Draymond Green. He obviously Draymond Green is the glue in the middle of the Warriors when they were on that championship run there. He does the same sort of thing. Like last game against Portland, he scored 2 points, but had 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 steals, and played 34 minutes. The game before that, he shot 8 out of 8 of his shots. And if you've got him, because they're doing weird stuff with him, they're still running him at center. He's a point guard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He was playing point guard when I was watching, but
they just seem to be using him as just a generic utility guy who can do everything, and he's never going to score big.
Yeah, he's kind of a great defender, though, isn't he? He's not really a big scorer. He kind of loses confidence, it seems like, in his scoring, much like me, and losing confidence in a lot of data. It must be a Ben thing, I'm thinking. I learned a saying this week, trough coward, when you don't pee next to people in the urinal.
Are you a trough coward?
I'm definitely a trough coward. So I think Ben Simmons would be as well.
Really? Because, Joel, you reek of a trough coward.
I didn't know the saying. I learned that from Matt Heath on the ACC the other day, but yeah.
Actually, on that, if you want a bonus little thing to establish dominance over someone, if you walk into a toilet and there's like 10 urinals and someone's using one, use the one next to them.
When you're saying you normally go, when there's a free urinal, you go into the, you just go into like the bathroom suites?
Absolutely.
Yeah, true.
I don't do that. I say, no, I can do this.
The
and I go
ones
to
at
the urinal.
work are way too close together.
Those ones are the exception. And also when you open the door, you can see everyone's junk. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah, there's mirrors and stuff.
Oh,
I don't know who designed that. I mean, maybe Joel Harrison designed it. I'm not sure. But yeah, Ben Simmons, what I did enjoy, he went back to Philly. Obviously played pretty well back in Philly. But when you miss 2 free throws in the second half of the game, you get chicken nuggets, I think it is. They call it brickin' for chicken. And this is what happened when he missed both the free throws.
They call it brickin' for chicken. And if you miss 2 in the second half, nuggets for everyone. So that's why they're so fired up. And
Missed them both. So, maybe it was a tactic for him to win back the Philly fans.
I think they were losing by about 15 at that point as well. So maybe he was just trying to get a bit of credibility back in Philadelphia.
I really like that from Philly. Ben comes back. He had a sort of shaky exit from the club. Everyone's going to be booing him and on him. All of a sudden, he's in the situation where he has to shoot free throws, which he sucks at. and everyone gets free chicken if he misses it. That is excellent. There's no way he was going to make those.
We should do that here in New Zealand. You know, maybe they do. I haven't been to Breakers for a couple of years.
I was the MC briefly in about 2018, and I tried to bring it in, and it didn't go very well.
What?
This exact competition. I was like, we got to do it because it's hilarious in the NBA. But it didn't go too well, and so we ended up getting rid of it. But I think it's one of the best things you can do.
Hoops for scoops we could do. Hokey pokey scoops. I've got buckets for buckets. KFC buckets would be popular, or even shot for pot, where you get like a 50 bag or something. You know?
Wow, yeah, I'm down for that. That's expensive.
Didn't they used to do 100 points for the Breakers and you get BK burgers?
Yeah, they still do that.
I went to a Lakers game a few years ago, and then the same thing where you get tacos, and everyone was yelling out tacos, and I was like, what the heck is this at the end of the game? And it was the same thing that when everyone was cheering for the tacos at the end.
I think if we did it in New Zealand, you'd have to like free throw for a feed, bro, or something. You know what I mean? Like it has to be something along those lines.
That's quite good.
Yeah, actually, that's copyright easy, by the way. Don't steal that.
But it's not just Ben Simmons balling at the moment. I'm breaking up. I'm emotional about it. We got Klay Thompson. He's looking pretty good. Ja Morant tweeted as well. Ben and Klay have been hooping everybody quiet now, and he's probably quite right. Or the players that kind of were getting mocked a couple of weeks ago, they even saying trade LeBron a couple of days ago before he came back and played like an animal. He was amazing.
I got to say, NBA fans can be some of the most annoying fans. Never read a comment section of a House of Highlights post, you know what I mean? But Klay Thompson is such a pure and amazing shooter. He has been shooting the lights out lately. It's good to see him back because, once again, amazing defense and just lights out shooting. And when he gets hot, he can just take over a game.
I actually saw a stat. I saw a stat about Klay Thompson. In his first 5 games, he was at 12 points per game. And in the last 5 games, he played 24 points per game. And he's also shooting 56% three throws and 3-pointers.
How would you say free throws, isn't it?
Especially if you have 3 free throws.
Yeah.
Yeah. LeBron, as I just mentioned before, came back from like a 5-game absence. There was the talk of him playing in the World Cup football or something like that. Even he was in on that joke as well, right? He was like, I need to do something. I need to go away and play football, because there was a guy from Cameroon that looked quite similar.
Oh, really?
And there's a guy who looked like Kyrie as well. I think he was from like the Dominican. I don't think he was actually at the World Cup, but there's these 2 footballers who are like dead set.
Dead ringers.
And LeBron I think he tweeted saying with a photo of the guy saying, I've got work to do in other places too. You know, that's what he did. But he came back. He looked good. 20 years. He's just a machine, LeBron.
If you think of everyone else in his draft class, because he was drafted the same year as Carmelo Anthony, LeBron went number 1, and then I can't remember, there was a
D-Wade?
No, there was D-Wade was number 6 or something, but there was a European centre that went number 2, and Melo was 3. Literally everyone is out of the league now, and LeBron is still, I would say, top 5.
And he's got such an amazing IQ. You've seen probably press conferences where he talks about the plays in the game and he remembers everything. But did you see during the week he had like a handshake with the Lakers photographer? Like she came up to him, and they've even got, he must be remembering like 30 handshakes as well.
Because he does have personalised ones with everyone, doesn't he? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's like, so at some stage we need to work on a Benchwarmers handshake throughout the season, all right? Then we need to have, I don't know if we need personalised ones or not.
I will start with a high 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll work our way from there, because if you don't nail it, people can look at you and think, oh man, you guys are a bit awesome. Yeah. It's the word I'm looking for,
the next point we want to get into, of course, a bit of players firing up this week. People getting angry. Pat Bev. It's not surprising that Pat Bev,
the junkyard doll,
got suspended for pushing 3 games, I think it was. He got done. Westbrook got that gnarly scratch on his face as well.
That's right, from Zach Collins, who got ejected there.
And then Giannis, I think you guys spoke about this, getting fired up about the ladder. Get in front of there's that word again, the free throws.
The free throw.
Free throws. So he went to practice at the end of the game, and then they had the ladder in Philly, and he got real fired up with the ladder guy. It wasn't the ladder guy from that ad, though, was it? With the blue T-shirt and the bald head that you see on the infomercials.
No, Lee Hart.
Does look like Lee Hart, doesn't it?
It's the ladder that does 38 different things, but they're all very similar to the normal one thing that a ladder does.
Have you ever thought about having a cup of tea on a ladder? Well, you can do that on that ladder. I don't know why you would, but those are the options.
It must be a pretty expensive infomercial spot they pay like on a daily basis as well, like 9 a.m. just after the breakfast show. But
in the infomercials.
Right in the infomercial spot, and they always
Suzanne
do that,
Paul territory.
It must be working. It must be working well.
I just think that the guy, he does a great job, but the T-shirt he wears is the 2 shades of blue. I'm like, is that the T-shirt he decided he was going to wear to be on TV. Is that the one?
Look, all I'm going to say is that I have that ladder in my garage. So
Are you using it in 39 different ways?
Mostly just one way. To get up high.
And that's actually, speaking of Giannis, Football World Cup is on at the moment, and they were interviewing some of the Bucks players about whether it's football or whether it's soccer, which is, a question that many of the countries debate over. And I thought Giannis had a great point. Have a listen.
People say here in America, American football is not played with your feet. It's played with your hands. There's only one person that kicks the ball, the kicker. Overseas, the game that people call soccer is played with their feet, football. So it's football.
It's a good point. Like, in American football, you get one dude who's kicking it, not that often in a game.
Nah, punter or field goals, that's about it. But don't get me started on American football. I think the whole thing's silly.
Well, the whole sport in general.
Well, not the whole thing. I enjoy it, but I just think it's silly that there's one country that plays this one sport and it's named after that country. You know what I mean? Whereas football, it's the biggest sport in the world. So, and I think everyone calls it football. It's only America and like us that call it soccer.
Soccer.
Why did we latch onto that?
I don't know. Trying to be cool in front of America?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Stephen Adams, speaking of Kiwis being cool in front of America, continues to do so, and he had a really a nice wee moment with a fan. Well, it kind of seemed like it was going to be a bit of a surly moment from Stephen Adams, but then it turned into a manners lesson.
Simmons, you saw my hat? What? Please? Thank you.
What do you say?
What do you say? That audio recorded, I think, next to the urinal in the bathroom here at work. That sounded pretty ropey, but yeah.
That's a classic American thing, you see all these fans like dangling their jerseys in front and just not saying please or anything. It's good that Stephen Adams teaching them a bit of etiquette.
Well, because fans forget that these people, and the media forget as well, these people are just regular people. Yeah, they're paid hundreds of millions of dollars and they sign shit all the time. But like, if I saw LeBron or Stephen Adams, and I've met Stephen a few times, and I said please about 100 times, I wasn't even asking him for anything, So to walk up and not say that.
What's he like? What's he like to me? I mean, I love him. I love the guy.
I love him too. So it was a Stephen Adams golf day in like 2017, and I was there, and he refused to do any media interviews because everyone was going to ask him about the Tall Blacks.
Right.
And then McConey, fortunately, who had talked to him before, went up and said, hey, will you do an interview with Chris? We're from The Crowd Goes Wild. And he was like, oh, yeah, I love The Crowd Goes Wild. Great. Yeah, hell yeah, bro.
He seems to love McConey too,
Yeah, he loves McConey.
Yeah.
And so he had a chat with him. He's exactly like he is on camera, which is just like a normal, cheeky, like 6'11" Māori dude. I love him. He's awesome.
Oh,
I saw him at the Year 13 ball. It was at the Pullman Hotel. He was like walking out, and he's just wearing a hunting and fishing, massive hunting and fishing jacket.
You were at the ball or he was wearing a hunting and fishing?
I was at the ball wearing a hunting and fishing. He was wearing a suit, not at the ball.
Right.
And no, he just walked past, and like everyone just looked up. Not one person even asked him for a photo. I think everyone was just too scared.
That's New Zealand,
It
right?
was, we're just like, holy shit, was that just Stephen Adams?
But you say his name like kind of loud but muffled once he goes, like once he goes, just to make sure he kind of turns behind and kind of awkwardly waves.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That was very cool, but yeah, no photo to prove it.
We've been talking about how he's embraced, Ronaldo's sort of saying his celebration, right, in the Football World Cup. I was watching the audio. I was going to play that audio, but you're like, we've already done it, mate.
I think we already did do that one. So come on, boys, mate. You can't be dropping the ball like this.
I was going to try and tie it into the Football World Cup again. I thought it was good that we did, but it's nice to see he's picked up some Spanish as well too.
Well, I wasn't even here for that.
I think it's Portuguese.
Oh, is it? That's okay. So Portuguese. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's like.
I think because Ronaldo's from Portugal, so you'd imagine it'd be. But maybe
do they speak? That's a quick Googs. Should we Google it now in the middle of that? Okay.
I think it's C is in Spanish, Portuguese, Italian. It's quite a common thing.
C.
Yeah, for yes or
yeah,
si.
Yeah.
We're gonna look. Okay, you're right.
Portuguese.
Okay, apologies.
What do they speak in Portugal? It's definitely Portuguese.
Portuguese. Yeah. Okay. All right. Apologies to our Portuguese listeners right now from on the Benchwarmers. The next point as well that I was going to get to in the starting five. Was about the Kardashians, the exes of the Kardashians. We've done that as well.
We did that, mate. We all slid into bloody
Kendall
Jenner's DMs last week.
I'm only up to episode 3 of the Benchwarmers, so I haven't quite haven't watched the full
gotta
series
listen.
yet.
Oh, by the way, go back and listen to them all, folks. Like, you can't get the true experience just jumping in halfway.
You can't, and actually leave a rating as well if you're listening.
Oh, yeah. And subscribe and auto-download.
But you were talking about, obviously, the Kardashians, a lot of exes, in the NBA. A lot of players that have played in the NBA and have dated, not just, Kendall Jenner, or other Kardashians as well. But I was wondering if the squad, how would they compete if you had a squad full of the exes? Would they be in the top sort of Top 5?
Hell no. Sorry, are there enough X's to have a starting 5?
Well, okay, there you go. You got the names of Jordan. These are people that have been linked to, so I'm not saying.
And they're going to start great, and then they're going to get worse.
Well, Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, he's great.
Devin Booker.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we've got Ben Simmons.
Yep.
Kyle Kuzma.
Yep.
Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, he's worse.
That's at his prime. At his prime, Lamar Odom. Prime.
Oh,
Lamar.
it's prime. Yeah, prime. Blake Griffin.
James Harden, Blake Griffin, Rick Fox, and Chris Humphries.
No, that's an all-star team.
That's a pretty good squad.
And it's prime one now because it probably would be.
Well, Lamar, you're not wheeling Lamar out there now, are you? You know?
And even Blake Griffin's getting like 2 minutes for the Celtics. So, I mean, if they're all in their prime, that is one hell of a team.
Prime Chris Humphries is like he's...
Prime Humphries, man. That is basketball right there. I think it would go pretty damn well.
Yeah. Celebs, a lot of celebs courtside this week in the NBA. Drake, I mean, he's always courtside, right?
He's courtside at every team and always switches his jersey depending on where he is.
He feels like the biggest fair-weather fan in the NBA.
He is.
But he had a fancy, a coat that only sort of rappers and people that are cool could wear. Fluffy sort of fancy coat. But he put it on the sort of old boomer commentator who was commentating. He looked adorable, but this is the moment when Drake got the commentator to put on his coat.
What do you think of the coat?
I'm not gonna lie. It's like it's changed. You're changing. You're evolving.
You're evolving. That is a great point.
You're evolving.
He evolved literally over the last 3 minutes since he put it on.
That's like it's a meme. Like listens to her lost once, and then that's the.
There's no way that guy got that meme.
The guy looked like a Santa, like a Santa Claus putting on like he looked about the same age, but he looked cute. He looked cute and adorable. I mean, it's pretty nice.
That's good. Actually, Joel, you've got a coat like that, don't you?
I don't know.
Oh, lame.
No.
He's got the hunting and fishing top.
That's
The hunting and fishing coat. Come on, man.
That's right.
We had DJ Khaled a couple of weeks ago. He had the little foot pillow. Did you see that one as well? Courtside.
No.
So he had fancy kicks on, but he had them on a little pillow. So you sort of put them.
That is awesome.
So put the pillow and then put it down. So I mean, they're the sort of things you can pull off in America and New Zealand. You just get mocked for that. Right?
Yeah, you'd look like a bit of a muppet. Well, you're quite often courtside at Breakers. Would you dare do that? I assume as well. You're a guy that would have a sneaker collection.
I've been lucky enough to have a couple, but not to the extent of like the DJ Khaled or something like that. But maybe a foot pillow, Or
if you pulled that off and got on camera somehow, I reckon that would be hilarious.
On top of Birkenstocks, that'd probably be a great way of doing it as well.
One time I was close to being near the front. Wasn't quite at the front, but the camera happened to be on my daughter, who was pretty young at the time, and she was holding a juice, and she almost dropped the juice on camera and then caught it. And then Andrew Mulligan, who does a great job commentating the Breakers, actually gave her a shout out. I think we have got that audio around, haven't we, Adam?
Going to be very difficult to guard that rim the rest of the way.
Oh, that's a great catch from ND Boyce.
That's probably the most credibility you got in this basketball podcast
exactly.
all year.
My daughter took a great catch, almost dropped the juice. She looked around like, oh, did anyone notice? No, they didn't. But it was on camera. We got lots of texts afterwards.
Actually, if there's any basketball or New Zealand sports commentators listening, can you do more of that? If you see something funny in the audience, address it. Don't just ignore it. Like, if there's a streaker happening, say something like, someone's playing silly buggers on the field right now. We can't show you. But, I hate it when they just ignore it. Just
because something's going on. I mean, it's got Andrew Mulligan the shout out, and I mean, obviously he knows, knows my kids, but it would have looked weird for anyone else watching over Australia.
Because I would have been like, whoa, what's that?
Why does the commentator know this little girl's name? I mean, probably some alarm bells, some questions for Mulligan after the game.
Huge ones.
About why is he shouting out a little. But anyway, it was a great moment in her life, great moment in my life, and as you say, Joel, I got some credibility out of that.
100%, yeah. I've actually seen the last celebrity you've put in here. Speaking of people who wouldn't be trough cowards, Pete Davidson.
No way.
Yeah, he was at the Knicks with his new girlfriend, Emily Ratajkowski. Yeah, and he's just pulled the next hottest person in Hollywood, and there's only one way he's doing it.
What's that? By being a trough. I reckon he's the kind of guy
he's
who walks
a trough
in,
legend.
He sees you using the urinal and then tries to use yours.
He would, but I mean, the guy has got. I mean, we talked about some ballers still having game, but he's got game.
Oh, he's got game. He's walked into the bathroom, seen Yeezy using a urinal, and then has gone, "Look out, Yeezy! I'm using it. Not that in any way these females are urinals. That's a really terrible thing." Actually, Adam, if you get a chance later, and you could. Nah, leave it in. It's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, well, so I read somewhere during the week that he's kind of like catnip. And he's kind of catnip to celebrities. He's kind of got something that, I don't know what it is.
I think everyone just wants to every hot celebrity must just want to try it and see what it is now.
What's the big deal with old Pete?
I don't know. There must be some big deal, but I don't know what it is.
It gives kind of hope to scrawny white guys that want to be comedians like myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm married. I'm not like I'm.
You actually kind of look like Pete Davidson. Has anyone told you that, Pete?
Yeah, but I'm a terrible trough coward. You know that. And finally, I want to ask the final question, the final five this week. If you could turn back time, in the words of Cher, if you could find a way, would you take Ja or would you take Zion if you had that number one pick? Again, if you were the Pelicans.
Oh, that's huge. It's a big question. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, isn't it, Joel?
It is. I would probably say Ja, personally, but
so you would have. I mean, both amazing players.
Definitely both amazing players, and they're good. They're both from South Carolina.
They played together coming up, and when they were 16, I think, in the high school championship team.
They just played during the week, and Ja, had more points. I think 23 points. I think he got, or something like that. And but still, Zion's amazing as well. He's been injured.
I think Ja he got a triple double, 27, 10, and 14 or something in that game, which is crazy. And you see the highlight reels he's putting up at the moment. I would personally, right now, take Ja, but you never know. In a few years' time, Zion could be unreal.
If you took Ja over Zion back then, you would have to endure like a year of people being like, what are you doing? Because as a prospect, he was climbing the ranks, but Zion was out and out, like breaking billboards and Shaq-esque type stuff. So if you could endure that for 1 year, you'd look like a genius. But I still think Zion, he's had a few injury niggles. He's still looking good. His passing's mean. His defensive game, which in college was mean, hasn't come in yet. I still think that he is a very, very good prospect, and it's going to be tough. But yeah, Ja.
You'd be happy with both, though, wouldn't you? You'd be happy with both.
Hugely happy with
Zion
both.
as well. It was Thanksgiving over there. We got the audio there. He was asked his favourite Thanksgiving food. I don't know if it was this sort of fat shaming him. I don't know. Have a listen.
To go home tonight and then leave tomorrow evening. Give us a little glimpse into what Zion Williamson's Thanksgiving looks like.
Just spending some time with my mom, stepdad, my friends, little brother, older brother, and get on the plane and go into Memphis.
What's your favorite dish? What you looking forward to eating the most?
He trying to set me up. And no matter what answer I give, social media gonna clown me. So no comment.
I'm sorry. You know what?
It's all love. I'm just joking.
Well, get some good turkey. We will see you tomorrow. Enjoy this.
Get some turkey though. Like, oh my goodness.
Get some I felt like it was just
full credit to Zion. It must be tough when you're an animal of an athlete, right? Once in a generation type of athlete, and everyone's calling you fat because you injured your leg and you couldn't do anything. Yeah. And then now he can't even say what he wants for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
He had a great retort and another press conference as well. He sort of put it back on the journalist. I think we've got this audio.
And on the other end, how would you rate your defense tonight?
You tell me, man. I'm gonna know something about you. How would you rate my defense tonight? Be honest. There's no wrong answers. Be honest.
It's a pretty good answer. Like, it's basically what it's like the teacher saying you come up here and write it on the board if you think you know, and actually them following through on it.
Absolutely. Oh, you think you can do better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, just taking it back, just that Thanksgiving one as well. I was thinking, would you put Zion in the same class as like a Jesse Ryder, John Daly, like a successful...
Are you serious?
Successful...
Have you seen Zion?
No,
would that be
athlete.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, they're all great sports people.
A horrible assumption.
So, I mean, I know you're saying there's guys who
Shane
have got
Warne.
rigs, who can somehow, using talent alone. Zion's the opposite of that. He is an absolute beast of a man who got injured and then started ballooning out a wee bit.
Yeah.
And Joel's over here on his high horse with his 8-pack and his gutters, making fun of Zion.
Yeah, we call him Hungry Harrison in the office because he's always eating. And,
really?
He's just like just
trying to get like Zion, trying to get my
promotional
Zion body
food.
on.
Always promotional food, free promotional food, expired promotional food.
Expired promotional beers.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with
all right,
that.
your favourite? What's your favourite? We don't have Thanksgiving really in New Zealand. Favourite Christmas?
Wow, you're trying to set me up here. That's what it feels like.
It have to be ham though, wouldn't it?
Got to be ham, yeah, Christmas ham.
Ambrosia.
Great suggestion.
Lucy, my fiance makes a very nice ambrosia with marshmallows. Yeah.
Managed to get a ham once from a Warriors game, which was nice, from Corporate Box, which was good.
Was it anything to do with the Mad Butcher?
No, it was the first time at a Corporate Box, and I stayed around way too long. And at the end of the game, I was like, "What are you going to do with the ham?" The guy said, "Take it."
Wait, so you waited till everyone left to say, "Hey, that ham there, you gonna?"
He's like, "Take it." So I walked off with my backpack, and it fed my family for weeks. I mean, we can push ham for a long time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Put it in a handbag, keep it moist.
Yeah, the handbag.
It's good to go. But I like the idea of this guy working in a corporate box. He's just like, freaking Ben from John Ben just stole my ham, and he wouldn't leave.
Yeah, he probably wanted it to take home, to be honest. He was probably on minimum wage, but I was like, "Hey, man, what are you going to do with the ham?" And he was like, "I'll just take it." So, yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, we'll get into fantasy. Do we have a fantasy intro or?
We do have a fantasy intro, Ben. You weren't here last week, but Adam and Joel and Azura made one.
Oh, good.
And they really leant on the fantasy aspect.
Oh.
Hey there. What's your fantasy?
Sorry, fantasy basketball? Yeah, basketball.
I love how that's Joel trying to be confident as well.
As the trough cow and coming out.
Yeah.
That's really a running theme here. Now we have fantasy basketball. You know, we're playing individually in our own leagues, and we also have the ACC team. But so many injuries at the moment. Are you guys getting that?
I have got, in my personal league, I don't want to bang on about my league, but I have 8 injuries out of my 14 players. So it's really... Yeah.
And how many injury replacements can you have?
One.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got like Isaiah Stewart from the Pistons. But they're all just niggly little things, which is, okay, so in a week's time it'll be sweet, but this is fantasy and I have to remind myself every week, every year you're going to have injuries.
Well, we got James McConey. He's like the corrupt. He's more corrupt than FIFA, I think.
Is he the commissioner?
He's the commissioner of the league that I play in as well. And I mean, geez, he stops you from asking questions as well. He's like, you've asked too many. It's like FIFA.
He's Sepp Blatter, absolutely. Because he was for years when I used to work at Sky. We started a league and he was in it. And I love McConey because he drafts all the rookies. Is his team called the Rust Bus or anything like that?
I can't remember what he's got actually. It's I think it's some shout out to Te Awamutu or something where he's from or something.
Yeah, I'd say so. But I love it. He gets all the rookies, all the young fellas, and he watches all their games. So he's quite good value to have in a league, actually.
I feel like it's definitely getting to that point in the season where the injuries start leaking in and people who are just getting absolutely killed by injuries start sort of dropping off a little bit, and you kind of define the playoff people in the league very early for fantasy.
Week 6, you reckon?
I reckon. Honestly, you can already tell. Well, there's only 10 people in my league and 8 make the playoffs. It's like there's 2. So
so you already made the decision.
There's pretty much. I could probably lock in the top 8 already.
So teams are already tanking in your league.
They're already completely tanking. But Tyrese Maxey-Pad for me. He's been out for a while as well for the 76ers. And Jarrett Allen injured. Scotty Barnes day to day. Yeah,
we have a team for the Benchwarmers. We're in the Shapiro's league as well, and Storm actually. Before we got rid of him, he drafted a pretty good squad, I think. And you had the team this week. We all sort of babysit it for a week, like a Tamaguchi back in the day.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it. I'll be honest.
So Tamaguchi's dead, Joel. You serious?
No, it could. I thought it was dead.
You revived it.
Apparently, I didn't touch it all week. I woke up on about Sunday morning, day 5.
Wait, so you woke up Sunday morning with horrific alcohol breath, gave it CPR, and breathed life into it?
No, and I was just like, I was like, oh shit, I was supposed to be doing the fantasy league this week, and then I was just like, well, hey, I may as well.
It's too late now.
It's too late now. It sounds better, and we didn't touch it. And then Adam was saying that he had a look yesterday, and old Zubac, apparently we had him in 29 rebounds. That can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, I checked, and we were down 7-2, and I was thinking, we're gonna have some juice, some absolute fire on the show tomorrow, and somehow they came out and won. And
right,
Joel somehow saved himself.
So competitive league then? Joel
didn't do anything.
Didn't touch the subs once. I don't know if it's on. I don't even know if it was on auto change. Well, I think we had a lot of players on the bench, but it's
good to give players a rest.
It's good to rest them. I don't think we're screwed by too many injuries. Not turnovers as well. That's a good thing.
Well, I got to say, I'm impressed. I've never heard of someone doing load management in a fantasy team. So you're truly a pioneer of fantasy basketball.
Yeah. Plenty of funny stuff happening this week in the NBA. Let's have a look at some of those now. And the alley oops.
It's the big alley. Ooh, it's not the one. It's not the one.
Now, I know this is probably going to be the sort of low-hanging fruit, lowbrow comedy that you all embrace here, Joel Harrison. But have a listen to this. There was a slippery floor going on in the Lakers game, and AD strained something.
There, see, LeBron goes down, and the AD steps, and look at that. That's how you get a strained groin.
Which is something that LeBron is just coming back from.
And so did he slip over trying to pull LeBron up?
He came to, it was nice. It was a cute moment. He came over to try and and then slipped over, and as I said, strained his groin. I don't know, that's how you strain your groin?
Yeah.
Joel, looking at you.
No, I actually do have a bit of a strained groin at the moment from AFL.
You told me it was your knee.
So, yeah, knee.
How long's your groin?
Pete Davidson. Yeah.
Actually, this situation, let's just say LeBron walked in here right now and tripped over.
Yeah.
We'd all jump up, right, go to help him. You'd be so nervous. You would probably fall over or something,
yes.
right? Because I remember Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
Right,
okay, that's a
Reek.
reference.
Yeah. This is yeah.
Was this before or after he became Reek?
No, this is before Reek. So
Yeah.
pre-Reek. This is in like 2015 or something.
So who was he then? He was just
Theon Greyjoy. So he still had his penis and it was all good and he was sort
Oh,
of...
I see what you're saying. He was
Yeah.
on Game of Thrones, but he hadn't
Like 2 seasons had happened.
Yeah.
He came to New Zealand, was at the Blues, the rugby thing, and because he
That's
loves...
right. He got wheeled out here for a promotional...
For like a week of just
Yeah.
doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
He was at the Blues. He loves rugby. They gave him a Blues shirt and we were there and he wanted to kick a ball around and stuff and I had the ball and he was like running to the 22 and I had the ball on the ground halfback styles and he was like, yeah, right here, mate, right here. He wanted to slot the droppy and I threw the worst pass of my life. I like went over his head, he's like, oh, damn it, mate. And like turned and ran off and I was like, Chris, you could have been on Game of Thrones season 3. What are you doing? So I can
you
see
had
how
your big
that
moment,
happens.
you choked,
I
basically.
massively choked. But look at me now, nailing it.
So how long is Anthony Davis out? Do you know?
I don't think why have you got some beef here with?
No, so Anthony Davis, as he's slipped in there, we don't have beef, me and Joel, definitely not.
Okay.
But he's actually plays a lot more games than people realise. He just gets marked as probable every game. So if you've got him on your fantasy team, every day he will have that red game time decision thing written next
Even
to his
LeBron's
name.
kind of like that. He's always day to day
He's
as
the
well.
same, yeah.
But in most days he's playing.
He's
you know?
playing. So for example, Anthony Davis, he missed last game because it was a back-to-back, and he's probable for today's game or tomorrow's game.
That's why Anthony Davis, perfect nickname for him.
Davis.
Actually, yeah, that's good.
He is actually killing it at the moment. I saw one of the stats, like he was averaging like 13 rebounds a game, but he's not actually in the top 5 of most rebounds in the league because he hasn't played that many games. But last
He's
week,
missed 2.
2 games.
Yeah, all season.
Too
Sorry,
many
3.
games. But it was monumental though. He had a game, I think 37-15, 5-5 or something.
It was 37, 21, 5 steals and 5 blocks. He shot 15 out of 16 free throws, and he shot 65% from the field. That is like incredible.
That's the AD that you want, though. That's when they talk
Yeah.
about him being one of the top 5 players potentially in the league.
Yeah.
If he's playing like that.
Exactly.
That's bubble AD.
It is. Yeah, it really is. He's a glass cannon.
Yeah.
Where if you can get him out there, he'll be amazing. But he breaks easy.
Does it feel like every time him and LeBron play together, well, this I was probably the numbers kind of shit when they play together, but then when it's just one of them, they just absolutely kill it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when they do play together and they've got decent team around, they did win a championship.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But they do sort of cannibalize each other's stats if you're playing fantasy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another moment from the week that I found quite amusing was this one from the Hornets game with Kelly Oubre Jr.
Terry, bat it around. No, yes, just hold the ball. Oh, wow. And PJ Washington is fouled. Wow. Kelly Oubre almost fired that up there. He did. Kelly Oubre almost pulled a boner. Oh.
What? So what happened?
It was right near the end of the game. It was all going on, and then it was like, hold the ball. The commentator, you could tell he had a lot of money riding on one of the teams there right now. It was definitely very biased. And then he almost pulled a boner.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, you know.
So this is the Charlotte Hornets announcer, right?
Yeah.
He's like the most iconic.
How do you do?
There's actually another great clip. I'll send it to you, Adam. A great clip from this
Why'd
week.
you send it to Adam?
You sent it to me and Ben.
Well, you played it on the podcast.
What the hell?
We'll play it on the podcast.
Oh, they'll play it now. Okay.
It's
yeah.
Here it is. Here.
Yeah.
We're somehow made it to Russell. Get out! Richards takes it away from Gobert. Yes! Both ends of the floor.
one of the biggest voice breaks from a commentator I've ever heard as well. It was just an unreal Hornets play, and yeah, you'll hear it. Just one of the one of the greatest voice breaks, the high notes in the voice from a commentator I've ever heard.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And
we just heard it. You just
heard
heard
it.
it.
Yeah. You're right, Joel.
It was
It was
far out, man.
And in the NBL, a little closer to home right now, there was an unfortunate F-bomb at the end of the Sky Sport coverage.
Yeah, Tyler Johnson here as well. How'd you pull up in that last one? No, I'm cool. It's just funky land. I'm good, though.
I'm pretty sure he said funky landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said funky landing.
I think it might be right. You said this before you played this. I'm like, Joel, you know, like I was shaking my head at your Gen Z, you know, your wild ways. You're sitting out there with your flat peak cap, drinking your pals or whatever. Can't say that on the, the Export podcast. But I think you might be right. Can we hear that again?
Yeah, Tyler Johnson here as well. How'd you pull up in that last one? No, I'm cool. It's just funky land. I'm good, though.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Tyler Johnson, I remember when he played at the Miami Heat and he'd come on when they were decimated by injuries. He'd drop 20 points, looked pretty good. He actually has a bit of a lisp and a weird way of speaking. and I've heard him speak like that in the NBA. I do think he's too professional and too experienced to drop an F-bomb. I think he said funky landing.
Yeah, even Joe Jury, the head of the ACC social media, I think he was just looking. It was the low-hanging fruit. He put it up on social media the other day. But I was listening. I was like, I don't think I heard an F word. But hey.
But you're a millennial flat peak cap drinking.
I probably was too busy on my export citruses.
But Breakers looking good though. They're really one of the hot teams in the NBL.
That's right. And so what I've done, Ben, is because I used to work in sports television, I have now left, and now I don't watch any sport other than NBA and NRL.
Yeah, right.
And so now that I've left, all of a sudden the Breakers are back, baby, and I'm so removed from it. I'm going to have to get back stuck into them again.
Yeah.
Are you still going to their games?
I haven't actually. I need to get back into it too. You know, I think let's still make it our thing. When we'll start getting back into the Breakers because they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, still keep an eye on how they're doing. But
the Benchwarmers should go to watch a game as well. Surely.
Yeah, I'd be more than keen. I saw on Sunday night. They're always on Sunday nights. And my AFL team, we go to a bar in Parnell.
Bangs on about
Sorry,
AFL
guys.
team.
Yeah, we go to a bar, and that's
get up, mate. You play AFL.
Yeah, he's got a final.
We got a final this week as well. Yeah, so
it's also not AFL. It's Aussie rules.
No, this is AFL, mate. But yeah, I saw they hit like 108 points, which is pretty good for an NBL team getting over 100 points.
Absolutely, because we played 10-minute quarters or 12-minute quarters. Is it 12?
Is it? I don't know, but I think it used to be 10.
NBA is 12 and we're 10.
Yeah.
Is what it is. I'm pretty sure. I will say that on a podcast. 80% certain of what I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure. So that is impressive to break 100.
Nearly correct information. That's what we try and pride ourselves on the Benchwarmers podcast. Any final things you want to throw out there before we wrap things up this week?
Could I throw a little bit of a fantasy tip?
Get in there.
So if you're playing fantasy basketball right now, right, and you're looking at the Charlotte Hornets there, word is, because Gordon Hayward's fractured his shoulder blade or something.
Yeah, that's right. He's out again.
He's out.
He's day-to-day type thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he's worse. He's done. And they've marked him as out indefinitely. And the word around the traps, and I'm around those, well, I'm not really. I just read shit online when I'm bored. But everyone's saying...
Sounded good when you said that, though.
Oh, yeah. They're keen to start tanking for old Wemby, the French freak.
Right.
Yeah.
So guys like, is it Jaden McDaniels or Jalen? Like those younger guys. And also keep an eye on that reserve centre who's behind Mason Plumlee. Because he's old in the NBA terms. They're going to, I think Nick Richards might be his name. They're going to start bringing these young guys through. If you see one of them get a start, I think Jaden already is starting, jump on them. Because the tank, I reckon, is going to start soon.
It's an interesting. You're talking about. Sorry, this probably should have been the starting five. But you talk about.
Bring it back up.
Victor Wembanyama. He's obviously the most talented guy coming up. Why are you worrying about him? There's already one in the league, Bol from the Magic. He is killing it in fantasy at the moment.
When you say one of them, what do you mean? Like a talented tall guy?
Yeah, just, you don't.
There's one of them in this room with us right now, but you're not getting drafted.
You don't need. But you don't need Wemby. He's too overhyped. Bol is where it's.
But don't you want? Doesn't every team want talented tall guys in the NBA?
They do, yeah. But I reckon if Magic somehow get him as well. They will be crazy.
So having the Magic.
But also in fantasy, like Bol last week, he had a great week of fantasy for me. He played, I think it was like one of the best games he ever played in his career. And he's only 22 years old as well. So
Joel, can you not give fantasy advice? You didn't set the team for a week. Are you serious?
I'm coming second in my league as well, 5-1. So
well, there you go. Actually, just on the Magic, if they did get him somehow, because they are bad.
Yeah.
Mo Bamba, who's a giant, Wembanyama, they could roll out just the tallest lineup in history. They'll get smoked.
Yeah.
But wow, what a lineup.
Are we already seeing teams starting to tank? Not really as much as I thought so far. I mean, the Jazz have been good.
Yeah.
A lot of teams like that you thought maybe were going to start tanking.
I think after the All-Star break is when they start to really go to tank mode.
Even the Pacers have been pretty consistent.
Halliburton is great at the moment.
Oh, he's a top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton. So to trade, the Kings trading him away to get DeMontis Sabonis, it was a real blowout and leave. But that's what the Kings do. They have blowouts. It's great.
Well, that is our podcast for another week. Thanks very much for joining us. It's been lots of fun, fellas. And we'll catch you same time, same place, talking some basketball and all other nonsense again on the ACC. We'll see you next week.